Hi, and welcome to Elicit's live stream number 14. I'm Andreas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Elicit. And Elicit is an AI research assistant. It helps you find, understand, and organize research papers. This is going to be the last live stream for a while. I'm going to go on paternity leave basically as soon as this live stream is over. And and then we'll see. I might be back in a month or a little bit later, a little bit earlier, TBD. As usual, today I'll be researching a topic that I don't know anything about and that I haven't prepared. I'll have a time limit, 30 minutes, and we'll see how far we get. As usual, it's about learning in public, not too public. Hopefully we don't get too many viewers. Usually we get very few viewers, so shouldn't be a problem. And we'll be researching a topic that is sometimes prepared by the audience and sometimes prepared by me. We also want to learn how to improve Elicit. Usually we find one or two small bugs or issues with Elicit. And I expect the same to be true today. I really would like to research kind of isolation at birth today, because it's like particularly relevant to me. And let me start the timer, and then I'll explain and go. So the specific thing is, some people say for the first, 30 or 45 days, your child should not be in contact with anyone if you can help it, because it doesn't have its own immune system, and so could easily kind of get sick and you would have to take it to the emergency room. I don't know if that's true or what the risk-benefit analysis looks like for that, so I'd like to learn about that. I also got an interesting suggestion from a blind person last time, and if he can, I would like to get to it, but I don't know if he'll make it. So let's get started. I don't even quite know what the right terms are for research like isolation at birth. So let's just ask a fairly long question here. What is the evidence for isolation at birth? Do you need to protect a child's immune system by keeping it isolated from other people? And I'll run a paper search. And I think there are going to be a few papers here that are about isolation that are not about kind of protecting the immune system. So let's ask specifically about that. By the way, here you can see the new column library feature. In my column library, there's a single key idea column that I added, but you can add your own columns. So I will add a column that more or less just asks what I asked in my original question, which is, but asks whether the paper is about that. Does this specifically discuss isolation at birth of healthy children for the sake of protecting them from germs, since they don't have an immune system yet? Say yes, no, or maybe. And I'll make that a premium column, since it is a pretty difficult question. At the same time, while this is running, I might want to start a chat already. Okay, we can see many of these. The first one does seem to discuss that. The others is a little bit unclear. Let's load more papers so that we can run this function that decides whether it in fact discusses the very specific thing we care about. Run that over more papers as soon as possible. And I'm also going to copy my initial query. I will select all the papers we have so far, and I will add a chat with paper step. I'll use full text and ask for where it's available. I think it's maybe only on one of them here. And I'll ask the question we asked earlier. At the same time, for later, I think I want to already open up this paper that does seem to discuss this. And let's see if there are any others. I guess we can filter by yes. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there are others that obviously discuss this. There are not even maybes here. Very interesting. So this paper, be on PubMed. Does not obviously give us the full text here. Let's see if we had it earlier. Yeah, so this is someone who was at risk of combined immune deficiency. So this makes me think that the column we added might have been too complex because it was really asking a lot of questions. We might want to do task decomposition and split it up. But before we do that, let's go back and let's read the chat answer here. Okay, so for mothers with infectious diseases, mother newborn separation could be a risk factor. Okay, that's not actually what I'm looking for. Here, this is a little bit more relevant. In terms of protecting the child's immune system, Halt notes that they are capable of mounting immune responses. So what specifically is the evidence for or against keeping a child with the family but isolated from outsiders for the first weeks? I think that might help clarify the question here. And we might also want to ask a more specific question. I think isolation at birth is not really the right question here because it suggests probably that it's also isolation from the mom. So I will start a new paper search here, which is what is the evidence for or against keeping a child with the family but isolated from outsiders for the first weeks? Does this help the child's immune? Does this for immune to protect child from germs? Okay, now let's read the chat response. Do not specifically address this. No direct evidence in the papers here. Yeah, so this underscores what I was already thinking, which is like my query probably wasn't ideal, and I'm looking for something more specific. Okay, interesting. Let's read the summary first and then see if we believe it. Evidence overwhelmingly suggests that isolating a child from outsiders for the first weeks to protect them from germs is not beneficial. Highlight the negative impact. Yeah, on parental bonding. Well, that's again when you're also isolating it from the mom. Okay, here in neonatal intensive care units, restricting father's access was a significant obstacle to bonding. Isolation precautions. Yeah, I think these are also not exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to start slightly differently. I'm going to start with kind of newborn immune system. What is the newborn immune system like for the first few weeks? How robust is the newborn immune system for the first few weeks? And then, so that's going up a step in the causal chain, trying to understand better what is the immune system like, and then depending on that, we can see what we believe about isolation. And I think here I'm gonna apply some filters, or like a bit more recent stuff. Ideally, we get like some review, and ideally we would get the full text so that we can actually kind of read a paper that teaches us about the newborn immune system. I'm going to sort by most cited here. Okay, here we have the newborn's immune system. Doesn't have the most citations. Review article. Let's read this abstract and see what we think. More susceptible to infectious agents. Innate system. So there's the adaptive immune system and the innate system. And then it discusses a bunch of specific pathogens. I think one question maybe is, how soon does the adaptive immune system develop? Is it present at birth, or is that a thing that like takes a while? Let's quickly see if there are any of these other papers are relevant to us. Actually, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to expand all of these paper searches, and we'll see if I can then find the paper that is most relevant to the question I actually care about, because we can actually combine papers across steps in Elicit. So we have all of these, so it's 48 papers. I'm going to add a chat step, but won't use the full text. Which of these papers are most relevant to the question? Is isolation of healthy children for the first few weeks? Is it good to isolate healthy children from kind of a wider set of visitors for the first few weeks of their life? Does this protect their immune system? Assume that the close family that are with child. Okay, we might be getting a little bit closer here. So here, kind of protective and preventing negative implications, protects them from infectious agents, makes sense on priors. Yeah, I think this is actually maybe what we just saw, that there's a difference. Because there is a need for the neonatal immune system to adapt. But isolation can also impair the normal development of the immune system, because they do need to be exposed to various antigens. And then if you, isolation can lead to, I guess here, feelings of loneliness and emotional distress. I think it's a bit unclear whether this is about the child or the parent. I'd say there's like no super clear answer here. But maybe that in itself is kind of interesting. Like, we did not immediately find any strong evidence for such isolation. Are there any other search terms we should use to find evidence for against such isolation from broader visitors? Okay, there are some interesting ideas here. Neonatal immune development, newborn microbial colonization, maternal microbiota, newborn infection prevention. That's maybe an interesting one. I think I'm gonna look out and see if there are strategies, if there are any papers that directly discuss that. Because specifically, what I expect to see is if one of the most promising strategies is isolate the newborn from broader visitors, then I would expect that to show up here, whereas if other strategies are more common, then I would expect those to show up more. So let's read the summary. A range of strategies have been proposed: hand hygiene, lactoferrin, heparin, antibiotics, okay, I think that's like weak evidence against the strategy of avoiding visitors. I think I want to avoiding visitors for newborns. Maybe we just need to be more direct here. See what we find with that query. Okay, precautions before entering a neonatal unit. I think it's saying not exactly what you're looking for. Use of lay home visitors. Let's take a look at this. Okay, designed to maybe find strategies with newborns. Also not exactly what we want. Open visitation in NICU. Factors affecting visitation of sick newborns. NICU. Okay, I think there's a little bit too much on NICU and also too much on COVID. Let's see, okay, let's remove those separately. Save. Okay, neonatal unit. I think I'm even going to add unit. That's not the best term to exclude because it will have various kind of false positives, but let's see what happens. Home visitation services. Okay, this one, staying connected while nurturing an infant is maybe relevant. Let's see if we can find more of the raw paper here. Okay, this one is more about kind of the drawbacks of not being connected. Ruined sense of isolation. Let's take a look at the list of papers and quickly skim if there are any others that seem relevant for avoiding visitors. not obviously. Okay, we only have a little more than 5 minutes left, so let's take let's see where we're at and think about what we've learned so far. So first, I pretty directly searched for evidence for isolation at birth. Do you need to protect the child's immune system? And I think that one was not the best search because I think a lot of it is about isolating the child from the mom or the closer family as well. And I learned that by kind of chatting with these papers, which then revealed that this was partially about mother-newborn separation. So then I tried to ask more explicitly, keeping the child with the family isolated from outsiders. I did not obviously find evidence for that here either. Then took a step back and thought, well, maybe you can just try to learn more about how the newborn immune system works for the first few weeks. I think there's a bigger topic and ideally would spend more time learning about it. I think we saw that there are two kinds of immune systems, the kind of built-in system, the native system, and also the kind of adaptive system that needs to be built up over time. I think there is more we could follow up here in trying to learn about, like, well, how long exactly does the adaptive system need to be built up, and is it a problem if there are too many pathogens at once? But that's maybe a bigger task. So then we asked more specifically, let's just take all the papers, and I clicked find more a few more times to get more papers here, and asked about the question I actually care about. Is it good to isolate healthy, I forgot a word here, infants from a wider set of visitors for the first few weeks? Does this protect their immune system? It gave like this kind of hedging answer where it was like, well, on the one hand, protects them, on the other hand, they need the pathogens to build up their adaptive system. So it's still unclear where we're at overall. Doesn't seem like there's strong evidence for isolation at this point. We got a few other search keywords that could be useful here. And we could follow up on more of those. And in fact did. So the next thing I searched for was neonatal infection prevention strategies. I think that one again was like a little bit more about how do you kind of prevent infection in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, and did not reveal as one of the top strategies just prevent all visitors from visiting the child. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll more directly search for avoiding visitors for newborns. And to make it more specific, I filter out NICU, COVID unit because of intensive care unit. And then the papers were more about kind of home visitation, like kind of nurses or other helpers visiting people who have young children. So where I'm at overall so far is I tried a bunch to find evidence for this, and I did not obviously find evidence for this. I could maybe in the last 2 minutes ask neonatal immune development speed. Maybe there's like something we could learn about how quickly the immune system develops. In one sentence, how quickly does the newborn immune system develop? And then maybe that will give us a little bit of an idea for how long they need to be protected, although even there, I think maybe it develops more quickly if it is exposed to more pathogens. Okay, here. Undeveloped at birth, relies on maternal antibodies. On the other hand here, it's like developing quickly. Develops gradually. Okay, we're about to run out of time, but let's ask one more question here, which is what components of the newborn immune system are not present for the first few weeks? Let's see if any of these papers address this. Okay, this seems very complex. Explain it more simply. Okay, maybe this one's the most interesting one. The cells that help develop immune responses are not as good at promoting certain protective immune responses in newborns. All right, okay, 8, 7, 6. We're out of time. My very tentative conclusion is it's probably not crucial. I think I would have expected to find more evidence for isolation of newborns from the broader family if that were truly a kind of crucial strategy. And it seems like some amount of pathogens are in fact required for helping the newborn develop their immune system. At the same time, I'd be hesitant to make strong conclusions here because I did not find kind of any very direct evidence addressing it. And I think in a more extensive research session, what I would want to try and learn about is how exactly does the newborn immune system develop over the first weeks and months? What are the things that are kind of present later, that are not present earlier, and that would kind of benefit from, that would benefit from waiting. But we're not getting to that today. We're also probably not going to get to it for a while since I'm going to go on paternity leave. In the meantime, if you like this live stream, subscribe, hit the like button. Why not try making your own live streams in the meantime? I definitely watch them. Otherwise, if there are topics you'd like me to research, tell me in the comments and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.